Warning! Do not try to heat with your thumbs. Welcome back to a brand new installment of the Super Meat Boy Let's Play. Into this video we're gonna tackle the dark side of the forest. We're gonna play the Dark World, and right here you can see there's 20 levels and no bosses at the end. The bosses only appear into the Light World, so yeah. Essentially the Dark World is just a harder version of the levels that you've went through so far, only though they added brand new obstacles in order to make things a little bit more difficult. The Dark World is actually not an obligatory part of the game because, well, you do need to play those levels if you want to see the real ending of the game, but you can still see an ending to this game. And yeah, by the way, you don't have to avoid all of those saws here, instead you just have to do this. However, there's still a saw here, but yeah. Like I've shown into the previous 1-2 playthrough, it's still pretty easy to pull off this jump. But for all of those people who want to prove their platforming chops, those levels are all for them. Even though that at this point of the game, it's still pretty easy. I mean, it's definitely harder than the levels that we've seen so far, but this time around, there is actual danger to contend with. After all, into the Light World, save from that one level where you had to jump over a gap, I think the first level in the game where you could die was like the 6th level of the game. But you also need to prove yourself in order to be able to access those levels, because all of the Dark World levels are locked until you've managed to get a grade A+ time, just like I've did, onto its Light World counterpart. You don't have to A+ any Dark World level, it's only for bragging rights, but come on, you gotta go as fast as you can, just like this! Oh my god. But yeah, essentially this glitch right here happens only because, well, the designer of this level put more than one bandage girl into the level. Essentially they're all hidden into the walls and all of this. And whenever you collect a bandage girl and there's more of them, they all go incredibly fast whenever they disappear. I'm gonna replay this level in order to try and get the grade A+ time by going through this path. You could do it pretty easily into the other level, but here it's a lot harder because it's nowhere near as forgiving. Your jumps pretty much all need to be perfect because you have to avoid dying, and then you have to avoid just botching up a jump like that in the most trivial way possible. Alright, concentration! Holy shit, I didn't actually knew that saying concentration out loud will slow down time. I better remember how to do that, but yeah, I managed to get the par time by only 1/10 of a second, but unfortunately you couldn't see it into the replay because the timer glitched out. Unfortunately, this is probably one of the main criticisms which is addressed toward the game, because yeah, it's pretty buggy, there's a lot of technical problems with it, and yeah, by the way, the game makes you think you can go under, but no! You cannot do that. But going back to how buggy the game is, yeah, there's a couple of technical hiccups with the game every once in a while. For instance, the game will suddenly lag out for a second and your character could go through walls or obstacles. And there are other times where you will beat a level, but the timer will not actually start, and whenever you will actually upload your time on the leaderboards, it will appear as 0 seconds, making you look like a cheater even though you aren't. And this is kind of a deal, considering that most of the appeal of this game, at least it's an appeal for me, is being able to go around at crazy speeds and pulling off insane stunts. For instance, trying to go around the level design just because you can. Yeah, the author actually intended you to take the long road around the saws, but guess what? You can do that, so just do it. Please yourself for once. Welcome to a level that I'm surprisingly having trouble beating, if only because most of the time I try to go between the two saws that you go at the top, because it's a whole lot faster, and basically I didn't go into that path for quite some time. With that, I just want to make more evident that this is not about doing an expert speedrun or anything of the game. This is only in order to showcase the game, and basically I'm gonna leave my mistakes here so that you can see that, well, so that I can show that I have my failings. So I'm gonna try and showcase a shortcut here, which is incredibly tricky to pull off, because even though you think you'll be able to pull it off, well, you just hit the side of the saw and you'll die. And also, I'm gonna showcase something which is incredibly annoying about this game. Slopes and jumping don't fit together, not at all. Oh, come on! That was so close once again. Yeah, even running up slopes can pretty much fuck up all of your momentum, so yeah, I hate slopes into this game, if only because the engines can't handle them for a damn. Luckily though, there are no times into the game where you need to jump off a slope in order to go through any actual level, so yeah, essentially this is still just a pet peeve on my end. And yeah, by the way, the cabin has been upgraded into a condo, with 4 more obstacles and way for you to die. Speaking of way to die, there are so many of them around here. I'm not a huge fan of this level, if only because of this one saw. Even though you pull off your run through the level perfectly without any kind of hitch, it's gonna end up blocking your way and there's pretty much no way to get around it. However, I really like this level. A level in which you can do a whole lot of free jumping and finally where you can defy logic. Ooh, I'm a ghost, I go through saws. This level right here requires a whole lot more timing than its light world counterpart, only because, well, in the first level you had 3 corridors and only 1 saw shooter, but no such luck here. The middle part is especially the most demanding one of the lot, because it's not quite as forgiving. You really need to pick up your right timing and also not to clip into the other side of the corridor where the saw blade can shoot you. Or occasionally you can go lucky and just clip through everything with one sweet fall. Yeah, we're starting to see a whole lot more meats into the replays this time around, and it's only gonna be increasing from now on. Get the clock and be ready to be the centerpiece of it all. Or, well, you can also do that, if only because, once again, you can! And this is the greatest thing about the level design into this game. It's here in order to encourage your playing, not restrict it. And yeah, by the way, we're gonna see a whole lot of levels like this that have a whole bunch of weird color palettes. And especially of the black color. But don't worry, they're gonna save up for a whole bunch of other colors and not only white. Oh, we have an actual race this time around. Oh wait, yeah, that was the boss encounter. And yeah, this one is a lot easier than the other one. In fact, I think the level design for this level is even easier than the light world counterpart. In fact, they removed some of the obstacles in order to make it even faster to navigate. The only added obstacle is the row of saw blades chasing you, so yeah. This level is also quite tricky because there's no safe spots anywhere. Well, at least close to nowhere, but the hardest part of this level is the breakable walls into the middle like this. Usually, you don't get to do this on your first try. And here we go, we've vanquished the Dark World Forest with all of our meats intact. Or something like that. I don't know how many people died here, but the losses were acceptable. Coming up next, we're gonna collect all of the bandages that we've left behind or die horribly trying to get them. We're gonna see some warp zones, and also we're gonna have the opportunity to play with other characters with brand new abilities. And finally, we're gonna see some weird things.